coming to you from Lake High School, where the Lady Leopards are taking on the Lady Blue Streaks. We're getting ready for the national anthem and the starting lineups. So we'll be right back with you in just a few minutes.
Welcome to all players, coaches, parents, and fans from Louisville High School. Welcome to Lake. And now to honor America, we ask that you please stand for the playing of our national anthem. Playing the anthem tonight is the Lake High School Pep Band under the direction of Mr. Josh Fox. Now let's meet tonight's teams. First, for the visiting Louisville Leopards, assistant coach is Corey Swope. The head coach of the Lady Leopards is Mr. Jeff Koto. Your starters, a freshman, number 2, Courtney Harwood. A senior, number 5, Maddie Dyer. A senior, number 22, Kelsey Edelman. A senior, number 23, Kendall Lord. A sophomore, number 24, Brooke Herring. Now let's meet your Lady Blue Streaks. Assistant coaches are Logan Workman, Darren Dirksen, and Beth Mazaka. The head coach of the Lady Blue Streaks is Miss Ashley Romo. Tonight's starters.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rob Johnson with Leopard Lair coming to you from Lake High School. We're in the process of making the starting lineups tonight. Starting for Louisville is Courtney Barwick, Maddie Dyer, Kelsey Edelman, Brooke Herring, and Kendall Lloyd. You'll have to forgive us tonight. We don't have a whole lot of information from Lake on the roster, but we know that Hans is starting, Johnson, Hornig, Slates, and Riggs. You can never determine the game by the records. Louisville coming in with a winning record, Lake coming in at 5-15. Like we learned the other night, you got to play the game and work really hard. Tipping off for the Lady Leopards will be Kendall Loy. Tipping off for the Lady Blue Streaks will be Julia Slates, excuse me. And the tip-off goes to the Lady Leopards as Courtney Barwick brings it up, gives it to Maddie Dyer. Dyer over to Herron. Herron's going to bring it to the center court, backs down, gives it back out to Edelman. Edelman's going to pass it inside to Brooke Herron, who shoots off the rim. Rebounded by Slates. She's going to push the ball up the floor, comes across the timeline. Guarded by Edelman. And tipped away by Edelman. Ball goes back to Lake. Slates inbounds to Serenity Johnson. Johnson gives it back to Slates. Slates gives it over to Abby Hance. She's going to dribble back to the center. Gives it up to Elena Horning. Horning inside to number 40. We don't have that person. And we've got a three-pointer for Lake, making the score 3-0 with 7:13 in the first quarter. Ball's pushed up to Edelman, who kicks it inside to Courtney Barwick, who loses the ball. Lake's going to take possession. And Riggs is number 40 for Lake. Kicking over to Slates. Leopards in a full court press. Pushes it up the floor to Serenity Johnson, who's going to drive. Kicks it back out to. And they call a foul on Louisville. The foul's called on Maddie Dyer. First team foul, first foul on Maddie. Hance with the ball, kicking it out to Riggs, who kicks it to Lena Horning. Horning's going to dribble out front, guarded by Maddie Dyer. Kicks it over to Slates, guarded by Barwick. Brooke Heron ties it up. It's a jump ball. Possession stays Lake. 6:34 in the first quarter, 3-0 Lake. Inbound goes to Abby Hance. Abby's going to dribble, guarded by Maddie Dyer. Dribbles off her foot. Traveling. Possession, Louisville. Courtney Barwick's going to inbound to Maddie Dyer, who's going to bring it up the backcourt. Crosses the timeline. She's going to dribble to the right side. Gives it off to Barwick, who's going to come across to the left. Dribbles down the lane. Shoots, and she's fouled. Courtney Barwick will shoot 2 shots. 6:13, first quarter. Lake leads 3-0. First shot for Barwick. It's good. Making the score 3-1. Lake. Into the game for Lake is number 2, Emma Anderson. Barwick for the second one. It's good. Making the score 3-2. 6:13 in the first quarter. Serenity Johnson trying to inbound. Gets it into Emma Anderson. Anderson's going to kick it out front to Elena Horning, who's going to bring it up the backcourt. Gets it across the timeline. Guarded by Barwick. She's going to drive down. Off the backboard. No good. Rebounded by Barwick, who's going to kick it out to Loy. Loy's going to push it. Takes it down the lane. Shoots and scores. Kendall Loy with 2 points, making the score 4-3, 5:44 in the first quarter. Lake's going to push it up the court. Elena Herring, guarded by Maddie Dyer. She picks up her dribble. Timeout, Lake. Lake's going to talk about it. So we'll be right back after this.
Beatty Sports has all of your athletic needs, specializing in corporate, school, and team apparel. In-house custom embroidery and silk screening makes the Beatty Sports tradition of quality unbeatable. Go Leopards.
And we're back, Leopard fans. 5:31, first quarter. Louisville leads 4-3. Let's see what the Blue Streaks have in store for the Lady Leps. Slates is in it to inbound. Gets it into Johnson. Johnson being guarded by Brooke Heron. She's going to drive to the hoop, loses the ball, gets it back, picks up her dribble, shot off the rim, no good. Rebounded. And that's Taryn Miglich, kicks it out to Barwick, who gives it up to Brooke Heron, who loses the ball. Forward pass up to Johnson, who's going to take it to the hoop, layup, and good. That's going to make the score 5-4 with 5:04 in the first quarter. Lake leads. Miglich brings it across the timeline, gives it off to Heron, over to Barwick. Barwick's going to drive down the top of the key. Out to Miglich for three, no good. Goes out of bounds. Possession Lake. Slates inbounds to Emma Anderson. Anderson's going to bring it up the backcourt. Crosses the timeline, guarded by Kendall Loy. Loy's going to kick it into Elena Horning. Back outside to Abby Hance for three. No good. Out of bounds, Leopard ball. Substitution for the Leopards is number 20. Delaney Oren. Ball across the timeline by Brooke Heron. Behind the back. Kicks it over to Taryn Miglich. Miglich looks around. She's going to bring it back up and reset up at the top. Gives it back off to Heron, who's going to drive down the lane. Takes it to the hoops, shoots, and it's good. Score 6-5, 4:11 in the first quarter. Leopards. Across the timeline for Lake. Johnson dribbling at the top. Kicks it over to Anderson. Anderson's going to dribble, gives it off to Slates. Slates back to Johnson on the wing. She's going to dribble. She gets stopped, cut off. Shot by Horning, no good. Rebound, Miglich, she's going to push it. Kicks it up the floor to Aubrey Thorne, back out to Miglich. Miglich over to Heron. Heron's going to back it down. She's going to turn and shoot. Gets blocked. Traveling. Lake ball. Into the ball game, number 22, Kelsey Edelman, and number 5, Maddie Dyer. Out of the ball game, it goes Heron and Barwick. Slates inbounds to Anderson. Guarded by Maddie Dyer. Slates brings it across the timeline. Hands off to Johnson. Guarded by Edelman. She's going to bring it to the left side. Kicks it off. Hands going to dribble. She's going to kick it back out. Throws the ball away. Ball goes to Louisville. Into the ball game, number 40, Marissa Riggs for the Lake Blue Streaks. Across the timeline is Dyer. Dyer over to Edelman. Kicks it off to Aubrey Thorne. She's going to dribble. Passes back over to Edelman. Edelman dribbles, and she's fouled. Foul's called on Emma Anderson, number 2 for Lake Blue Streaks. Inbounding the ball is Aubrey Thorne. She's going to kick it outside to Maddie Dyer, who's going to drive the hoop. Kicks it out to Edelman. On the wing for 3, no good, off the rim. Rebounded by Lake. Pushing up the floor is Johnson. Johnson's going to come across the timeline. She pushes it forward, up to number 40, no good. Rebound by Edelman. She's going to push it back down the floor. Kicks it over to Taryn Miglich for 3. It's good. That makes the score 9-5. Lady Leopards, 2:34 in the first quarter. Lake brings it across the timeline, over the corner for 3. Off the rim, rebounded. Pushes up to Maddie Dyer. Maddie Dyer is going to bring it up. She pulls it back out, kicks it across court to Aubrey Thorne for 3. And it's good. That makes the score 12-5 with 2:11 in the first quarter, and Lake calls timeout. And we'll be right back after this.
When Superintendent Schaefer, the school board, and new head coach Troy Davis asked me to pick up for Dennis Berry and fund the new scoreboard. I thought it was a daunting task, but we did it. The people in Louisville love the Leopards, and as for Thomas and Associates Dental, we have one thing to say: band, cheerleaders, football team. When
And we're back, Leopard fans. Lake to inbound. Slates gives it over to Anderson. Anderson gives it up to Johnson, who brings it across the timeline. She's going to drive to the hoop. Shoots. And we have a foul. Foul's on Louisville. She's going to shoot two. They called the foul on Kendall Lloyd, number 23 for Louisville. First one is good. That's going to make the score 12-6, giving Johnson 6 as well. Second shot is good, making the score 12-7. Louisville, with 1:56 in the first quarter. Maddie Dyer brings it across the timeline, gives it off to Kendall Lloyd, hands off to Aubrey Thorne. Miglich for three, off the rim, no good. Rebounded by Johnson for Lake. She's going to bring it across the timeline. Pushes over in the corner. Back out top to Johnson. She's going to drive. She's going to kick it out to Anderson. Anderson for three, no good, off the back of the rim. Rebounded by Dyer. Dyer's going to push it up the court. Gives it over to Aubrey Thorne, who loses it out of bounds. Lake ball. Into the ball game for the Leps is number 1, Haley Gonzalez, and number 2, Courtney Barwick. Emma Anderson brings it across the court, guarded by Dyer. Kicks it over to Elena Horning, who's guarded by Gonzalez. Nice defense by Gonzalez. Kicks it out to Slates, guarded by Edelman. Back over to Anderson. Anderson tries to force it inside. We've got a jump ball. Leopards possession. Kendall Lloyd inbound to Maddie Dyer, who's going to bring it up the backcourt. Comes across the timeline, gives it off to Gonzalez. Gonzalez loses it. She regains the possession. Over to Barwick. Barwick brings it to the top of the circle. Kicks it over to Gonzalez. Gonzalez over to Edelman. She's going to drive. Takes it to the hoop. Ball knocked out of bounds. Louisville possession. .2 seconds left in the first quarter. Courtney Barwick to inbound. Gives it into Kendall Lloyd. She's double teamed in the corner, knocked out of bounds. Stays Louisville ball. Courtney Barwick to inbound. Nice hit. Oh, stolen by Slates. Throws it over to center court. Grabbed by Johnson. Over to Anderson. Anderson's going to bring it across center court. She's dribbling. Back over to Johnson on the right side. She's going to drive down the center of the lane. And she's fouled by Gonzalez. That should be Gonzalez's first foul. That's the Lady Leopards' third team foul. 16.2 seconds left in the first quarter. Lady Leps still lead 12-7. Johnson to inbound. Oh, knocked away by Barwick, who's going to tip it up in the air. Back over to Anderson. Shot blocked by Dyer. Dyer's going to kick it up to Edelman, who forces it up to Loy. Shoots, and she's fouled. Loy was fouled by Serenity Johnson. That is her first foul. 4.8 seconds left in the first quarter. Going to the free throw line is Kendall Loy. Kendall currently has 2 points. Make it 3. 13-7. Lady Leps, first quarter. 4.8 seconds left in the first. Second shot by Loy, off the rim, no good. Rebounded Lake. Out to Johnson. Johnson over to Emma Anderson. And that's the end of the first quarter, folks, as the Lady Leopards lead 13-7. We'll be right back after this.
Beatty Sports has all of your athletic needs, specializing in corporate, school, and team apparel. In-house custom embroidery and silk screening makes the Beatty Sports tradition of quality and service unbeatable. Go Leopards!
And we're back, Leopard fans. Starting the second quarter, Lady Leps lead 13-7. Inbounding the ball, Slates for Lake. Gets it into... Back out to Slates, who's going to bring it around the front. Lake's going to dribble out top, going to bring it to the left side. Picks up her dribble, stolen by Barwick. She's got a breakaway, goes to the hoop, scores. That's going to make it 15-7, 7:32, second quarter. That's 4 points for Courtney Barwick. Marissa Riggs for 3, no good. Tapped out of bounds. Saved out of bounds by Lake. Kicks it over to Heron. Heron's gonna give it to Barwick. Barwick for 3, good. Making it 18-7, 6:58, second quarter. Abby Hance bringing it across the timeline. And that is Walker, number 13, over to Slates. Back to Hance. Hance at the top of the circle. Gonna give it over to Elena Horning for 3, off the rim, no good. Rebounded Brooke Heron. And she's gonna push it up the floor, across the timeline. She's gonna drive to the hole, and they call charging on Brooke Heron. Nice play by Abby Hance. 6:28 the second quarter. 18-7, Lady Leps. Into the ball game, Emma Anderson. And number 15, Serenity Johnson. Inbounded it, Anderson. She's gonna bring it up the backcourt. Picked up at the timeline by Courtney Barwick. A nice drive by Lake. Shoots and scores. That's going to make the score 18-9. Lady Leps, 6:11, second quarter. Brooke Heron over to Edelman. She's going to dribble, takes it down the lane, loses it, picks it back up, gets the score. That's going to make it 20-9, Lady Leps. 6 minutes left in the second quarter. Anderson brings it up across the timeline. Gives it over to Johnson. And we've got a jump ball. Lady Leopards possession. Aaron inbounds to Dyer. Dyer's going to give it up to Edelman on the wing. She's going to dribble. Kicks it into Heron, who's going to back it down. Over to Edelman. Nice give and go. Off the rim. No good. Rebound to Edelman. No good. Rebounded by Lake. And it's going to go off the baseline. Possession, Louisville. Brooke Heron's going to inbound. Going to give it over to Dyer. Dyer's going to bring it back out top. Kicks it back down low to Edelman. Edelman's going to dribble. Kicks it back out top to Dyer. To Brooke Heron. Heron. Lloyd sets a pick. Kicks it back over to Lloyd. Foul, Lake.
Blue Street foul. Going against Blue Street's board. Julia Slates.
Fouls on Julia Slates for Lake. Into the ball game for Louisville is Taryn Miglich and Aubrey Thorne. 24, Brooke Heron to inbound. Gets it into Lloyd. Lloyd loses the ball, stolen by Lake. Out of bounds. Gonna stay Leopard ball. Back into the ball game is Abby Hance, number 3. Sitting down is number 40, Marissa Riggs. Aaron inbound, gives it off to Miglich. She's going to bring it back up to the top. Resets the offense, gives it over to Thorne. Thorne's going to bring it across, gives it up to Miglich. Miglich going to dribble to her left, gives it up to Lloyd. Lloyd bringing it back out on top, gives it off to Miglich. Miglich back out to Lloyd for 2, no good. Rebound, Heron, off a Lake defender, out of bounds. Going to stay Lady Leps ball. Heron inbound, over to Barwick. Thought about it. Kicks it off to Miglich, over to Heron, back over to Miglich. Loses it, gains possession. Barwick for 3, off the back rim, no good. Over to Slates. Slates is going to give it to Johnson. Johnson's going to bring it across the timeline, guarded by Lloyd. Johnson's going to take it down the lane, off the rim, no good. Rebounded, Thorne. Who gives it over to Barwick. She's going to push it down the floor. Gives it up to Heron. Heron back over to Lloyd, who's blocked. We had a little bit of pinball there for a second. Brought across the timeline by Anderson. 4:06, second quarter. Over to Hance. Hance is going to dribble. She's going to kick it back out to Slates. Slates is going to drive, takes a shot, no good, off the rim. Rebounded by Aubrey Thorne, who loses it. Gained possession by Miglich. Miglich going to bring it across center court. Out to Barwick, fakes the shot. And we've got a foul. Fouls on number 22, Elena Horning. That's team foul number 5. Lady Leps to inbound. Into the game, number 13, Elizabeth Walker. Ball out of bounds, goes to Lake. Ball inbounded to Johnson. Johnson's going to bring it across the timeline. Gives it over to Anderson. Anderson to Hance. Guarded by Edelman. Over to Anderson. It's guarded by Maddie Dyer. Dyer's going to pick up Horning. Back over to Anderson, guarded by Miglich. Inside to Johnson, who loses it. Picked up by Edelman, who's going to push the ball up across the timeline. Kicks it back over to Matty Dyer. Takes it down the lane. Gives it up to Orwin. To Miglich, into Matty Dyer. Over to Edelman, to Miglich for three. No good, off the front of the rim. Rebounded by Anderson, who's pushing it up the floor. She's going to pass it off to Hornick. Hornick brings it back outside to Hans for three. Off the backboard, no good. And we've got a jump ball. Possession stays with Lake. 29-238, second quarter, Lady Leps. Anderson to inbound. Over to Walker. Walker kicks it out to Horning. Horning back to Anderson, who loses it. Gains it back. Guarded by Matty Dyer. Kicks it over to the corner to Hans. Inside to Walker. Walker fakes, turns, shoots. Off the rim. No good. Rebounded by Miglich. Miglich going to bring it across the timeline. Gives it up to Brooke Heron. Heron inside to Edelman. Shoots. No good. And we've got a jump ball. Possession Louisville. Into the ball game is Courtney Barwick and Kendall Loy. Sitting down is Delaney Orwin and Taryn Miglich. Inbounding is Brooke Heron. She scans, gives it up to Barwick. Barwick loses control. Actually, she had it knocked away. It goes out of bounds. Louisville retains possession. Aaron inbounds, kicks it across court to Matty Dyer, who takes it to the hoop, shoots, she scores. That makes it 22-9. Lady Leps, 157, second quarter. That's Matty's first bucket. Johnson gives it back to Anderson. Inside to Walker, back outside to Hans. Hans is going to drive the baseline. Off the side of the backboard, no good. Brooke Heron with the rebound. She's going to push it. She's going to take it down the lane and shoots and scores. That makes 24 for the Lady Leps. 24-9, 132 in the second quarter. That's Brooke Heron's fourth point. Timeout, Lady Blue Streaks. And we'll be right back after this. All right, Leper fans, we're back. 132, second quarter. Lady Leps lead 24-9. Lake ball. Bringing it, Anderson bringing it up across the timeline. Kicks it up to Johnson. Johnson going to bring it inside to Walker. Walker double team, triple team. Over to Anderson, who's going to give it up to Horning. Back across court to Johnson, who drives. Shot, good. Serenity Johnson with 9 points, making the score 24-11, 102, second quarter. Gonzalez for three, no good, rebounded. Rebound by Lake. Pushing it up the floor is Johnson. Johnson going to take it up the left side. Guarded by Gonzalez. Johnson's going to bring it up to the top of the circle, resets the offense. Kicks it over to Anderson. Anderson guarded by Barwick. Back over to Johnson, who almost loses the ball. Kicks it over to Walker. Walker guarded by Edelman. Walker steps on the line. Lady Leopards ball.
Louisville ball.
Heron inbound to Loy, who gives it back to Heron. She's going to bring it up to backcourt. Crosses the timeline, 22.2 seconds. Gonzalez with the ball. 18 seconds. Looks like the Lady Leopards are content with taking the lead to halftime. Gonzalez loses it. Gets it over to Barwick. Barwick over to Heron. Heron's gonna drive the lane. She shoots. And it scores. 2 seconds, 1 second. And that's Brooke Heron's 6th point as the Lady Leopards finish the first half, 26-11. What a half by the Lady Leopards. And we'll be back after this.
Beatty Sports has all of your athletic needs, specializing in corporate, school, and team apparel. In-house custom embroidery and silk screening makes the Beatty Sports tradition of quality and service unbeatable. Go Leopards.
When Superintendent Schaefer, the school board, and new head coach Troy Davis asked me to pick up for Dennis Beery and fund the new scoreboard, I thought it was a daunting task, but we did it. The people in Louisville love the Leopards, and as for Thomas and Associates Dental, we have one thing to say: band, cheerleaders, football team.
Hello, Leopard fans. Rob Johnson with Leopard Lair coming back to you from Lake High School as we are getting set to start the second half as the Lady Leps lead 26-11. Leading the way for the Lady Leps is Courtney Barwick with 7, followed by 6 with Brooke Herring. 3 points by Aubrey Thorne and Tara Miklich. 4 points by Kendall Loy. 2 points by Maddie Dyer. And the Lake Blue Streaks take a shot off the side of the backboard. One of the Lady Leps must have touched it on the way out. Stays possession, Lake. 7:42, third quarter. Ball over to Slates. Slates is going to drive. She's taking it to the hoop. Off the rim, no good. Rebounded by Edelman. Edelman's going to push the ball up the floor. Gives it off to Dyer. Dyer's going to kick it over to the corner for Barwick for 3. Good! Courtney Barwick with a 3-pointer. Giving the Lady Leps 29-11, 7-13, third quarter. Anderson over to Hornig. Hornig guarded by Barwick, kicks it into Slates. Slates is going to kick it back out to Marissa Riggs. Riggs bringing around the top, gives it off to Anderson. Guarded by Kendall Loy, kicks it inside to Slates, who shoots, no good, shoots again, and scores. Making it 29-13, 6:48, third quarter. And that's a timeout. Coach Kudo didn't like something, so he called a timeout. And we'll be right back after this.
Beatty Sports has all of your athletic needs, specializing in corporate, school, and team apparel. In-house custom embroidery and silk screening makes the Beatty Sports tradition of quality and service unbeatable. Go Leopards.
All right, we're back, Leopard fans. Lady Leps to inbound, 6:45, third quarter, 29-13, Lady Leps. Herring gives it in to Barwick for 3. Off the rim, no good. Rebound, Edelman. And she's fouled. Fouled by number 22, Elena Hornig. Inbound to Herring. Herring's going to drive to the cup. No good. Rebounded, Hornig. Hornig being double teamed off to Anderson. Anderson's going to bring it across court to Slates. Slates is going to drive to the hoop. No good. Rebounded Maddie Dyer. Dyer's going to push the action. Comes across the timeline. Gives it over to Herring. Herring out to Barwick. Barwick cross court back to the top of the circle for Dyer. Dyer's going to bring it to the right side. Back across to the center. She's going to give it back off to Barwick. Barwick dribbles, gives it off to Edelman. Edelman looks. She's going to dribble, backs it down, kicks it back over to Herring. Herring shoots. Front rim, good. Making the score 31-13, 5:48. Third quarter. Lady Leps. Brooke Herring with 8. Anderson, she loses their dribble. Kicks it over to Johnson, guarded by Herring. Brings it back out, resets the offense. Johnson dribbling up top. She's guarded tight by Herring. Brings it back outside. Kicks it over to Anderson. Anderson's going to drive. She's going to shoot. Way off. Air ball. No good. Kendall Loy tried to save it. Stepped on the baseline. Into the game. Substitution. Aubrey Thorne. Edelman sits down. .5:15, third quarter. Lake inbound. Hornig looking. Kicks it out top. Into Hans. She's going to drive. She's going to shoot. Off the rim. No good. Rebound Hans. Shoots again. No. Off the rim. Rebounded by Aubrey Thorne. She's going to give it off to Barwick. Barwick coming across the timeline, gives off to Aubrey Thorne. She kicks it back out to Thorne for shot, no good. Kendall Loy. Rebound, foul on Brooke Heron. Lake ball. And I think at some point, John, I called Aubrey Thorne, or Kendall Loy, Aubrey Thorne. But it happens. You have to forgive me, folks. I'm not one of our regular commentaries, but sometimes when things go down, you got to step in and do the job. Anderson coming across the timeline. Over to Slates, to Hance, who loses the ball. Grabbed by Riggs. Riggs over to Hance. Hance is going to dribble, gives it off to Hornick for three. No good, off the front of the rim. Rebound by Heron. Loses the ball. Possession stays with Lake. Into the ball game for the Leopards. Number 10, Taryn Miglich. Maddie Dyer sits down. Slates inbounds to Hornick. Hornick backs it out, gives it off to Anderson. Anderson dribbles. Stolen by Courtney Barwick. She's breaking away. Goes to the hoop, lays it up. Good. 33-13, 4:10, third quarter. Anderson bringing it across the timeline. Guarded by Miglich. Kicks it over to Slates for three. Off the rim, no good. Rebounded by Courtney Barwick, who's pushing the action again. Kicks it over to Heron. Heron, she's going to drive. Kicks it back out to Miglich. Miglich over to Heron, who dribbles. Kicks it out to Thorne. Thorne over to Miglich. Miglich kicks it inside to Thorne, who loses it. Off Lake defender. Ball stays with Louisville. Into the ball game comes Edelman and Dyer. Sitting down is Heron and Barwick. Thorne to inbound. She's going to give it to Miglich, who loses it. Slates grabs the ball. Over to Walker. Walker gives it back to Hornick, who's going to bring the ball across the timeline. Over to Johnson. Johnson double teamed. Over to Hance. Hance kicks it into Walker. Walker back out to Hance. Over to Johnson for three. Good. That makes the score 33-16. Louisville, 3:09, third quarter. Dyer brings it across center court. Stops her dribble. Gives it over to Edelman. Edelman's going to dribble. Takes it down the lane. Goes to the hoop. Shot, no good. We've got a jump ball. Possession stays with Louisville. Checking into the ball game is number 20, Delaney Oren. Sitting down is number 23, Kendall Loy. Inbound is Thorne over to Miglich. Miglich is going to dribble left. Kicks it over to Oren. Oren's going to dribble. Kicks it inside to Edelman, who loses it. Back out to Oren. Timeout, Louisville. 33-16, 2:45, third quarter. We'll be right back after this.
Good.
All right, we're back, Leopard fans. 33-16, 2:45 in the second quarter, or the third quarter, sorry. Wow, game's flying along. We want to give a special shout out to friend of the show, AJ Lingenhole. AJ committed today to the College of Notre Dame to play football and continue his athletics and education. We're very proud of you, AJ. Congratulations. Slates brings the ball down the lane, shoots. She's fouled. I think that was pretty awesome. AJ committed to Notre Dame today.
Yeah, another one of our athletes going to the next tier.
Yeah, we also had another one this week. Kelsey Adelman committed to Ohio Wesleyan, so we need to give her a shout out as well. Congratulations, Kelsey, on your choice of college. She's going to go play basketball, I believe they said. She's going to play basketball and continue her education. Way to go, Kelsey. Slates at the free throw line. Shots off the rim, no good. Rebounded, Delaney Orwin. Ball kicked up to Miglich, who's going to push the action over to Maddie Dyer. Over to Edelman. Edelman, she's going to dribble. Cross court to Orwin. Shot off the front of the rim, no good. Rebounded by Walker. They called a foul. They called the foul on Kelsey Edelman. Lake ball. 2:05. 35-16. Lady Leps into the ball game. Number 24, Brooke Heron. Bringing the ball up the floor is Hance. She crosses the timeline. Kicks it over to Slates. Slates kicks it down to Hornig. Back out to Slates. Slates back over to Hornig. Back to Slates. To Hance. Back to Slates. Almost loses it. Over to Johnson. Johnson kicks it into Walker, who loses it. Grabbed by Aubrey Thorne. Kicks it up to Heron. She's going to push it over to Edelman, who's going to shoot for three. Off the rim, no good. Rebounded Johnson for Lake. Lake is going to push it up the floor. She's going to drive to the cup. Off the rim, no good. Rebounded Brooke Heron. And she's going to push it the other way. We've got a fast-paced quarter going on here. Maddie Dyer inside to Kelsey Edelman. Back out to Delaney Orrin for shot for two. No good. Rebounded by Hance for Lake. And we've got a foul. Into the ball game for the Leps, Courtney Barwick, Kendall Loy, and Haley Gonzalez. 1:09, third quarter, Lake possession. Anderson brings it across the timeline. Double team by the Lady Leps. Over to Anderson. Kicks it inside to Slates. Slates is going to shoot. No good. Walker rebounds, shoots, no good. Barwick rebound, pushes the action. Up to Loy, kicks it over to Edelman. Back over to Gonzalez. Gonzalez dribbles. She's going to give it up to Barwick. Barwick brings it out top, resets the offense. Push it inside to Edelman, tipped away by Johnson. Picked up by Hornig. Hornig over to Anderson. Anderson going to dribble. Cross court to Johnson. Johnson's going to drive. She's going to shoot. Air ball, no good. Rebounded Gonzalez. Gonzalez up the floor to Edelman. Edelman gives it up to Heron, who's going to drive, shoot, score! 37-16, 10 seconds left in the third quarter. Slates is going to bring it across the timeline. Kicks it over to Walker. Walker shoots. Off the rim. 1 second, and that's the buzzer. That's going to leave us at the end of the third quarter. 37-16, Lady Leps. We'll be right back after this.
Beatty Sports has all of your athletic needs, specializing in corporate, school, and team apparel. In-house custom embroidery and silk screening makes the Beatty Sports tradition of quality and service unbeatable. Go Leopards.
When Superintendent Schaefer, the school board, and new head coach Troy Davis asked me to pick up for Dennis Beery and fund the new scoreboard, I thought it was a daunting task. But we did it. The people in Louisville love the Leopards, and as for Thomas and Associates Dental, we have one thing to say. Band, cheerleaders, football team.
And we're back, Leopard fans. 37-16. Start of the fourth quarter. In the ball game for the Lady Leps is Courtney Barwick, Maddie Dyer, Kendall Loy, Brooke Heron, and Kelsey Edelman. Marissa Riggs brings it across the timeline. Gives it up to Esposito. Esposito takes the shot, no good. And it's a foul on Brooke Heron. Esposito will go to the line. She will shoot 2. That's Brooke's third foul. Scratch that. That's her second foul. They had it on the board as a third foul, but then changed it back to 2. Second free throw is good. That's going to make the score 37-17. Leopards, 7:48. Fourth quarter. Edelman gives it off to Herring, kicks it out to Barwick. Barwick going to drive, shoot. It's good. 39-17, 7:36. Fourth quarter. Lady Leps are rolling. Nice to see the Lady Leps bouncing back after the game against Hoover the other night. They just struggled from the field the other night, just couldn't make a shot. Into the ball game for Lake is number 3, Abby Hance, and number 24, Julia Slates. Inbounding is Horning over to Anderson. Anderson giving it up to Hance, guarded by Heron. Over to Slates. Over to Riggs. Riggs is going to give it back over to Hance. Hance is guarded by Edelman. Hance's dribbles. Oh, stolen by Edelman. She's taking it to the hoop. She's going to shoot. Missed the layup. Gets a rebound and scores. Making the score 41-17. That'll give Kelsey Edelman 4 points. 6:48, fourth quarter. Anderson's going to dribble. Cut off by Maddie Dyer. Nice defense. Riggs guarded by Loy. She's going to dribble, takes it down, stops her dribble. Oh, lost the ball. We've got a jump ball, and that's going to be possession Louisville. Nice defense by Loy.
And the Lady Leps have been playing great defense all night.
They really have. Yeah, they've just been denying the ball and knocking it away all night long. It's been pretty nice. I'm sure Coach Kudo's proud about that, huh, John?
Oh, yeah. And on offense, they just keep pushing the pace.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're playing their game tonight. Moving the ball around, you know, no selfish play. If you look at the scoreboard, you've got a couple people in double figures, but pretty much everybody's scored. Coach Kudo loves unselfish play. Brooke Heron inbound. Kicks it over to Barwick. Barwick back out front to Edelman. Over to Dyer. Dyer's going to kick it inside to Heron, who loses it. She's fouled. Stays Louisville ball. Fouled by Abby Hance of Lake. 6:05, fourth quarter. That's Hance's second foul. Heron inbound into Edelman, who gives it up to Barwick. Kicks it over to Loy. Loy dribbles, give it up to Edelman. Over to Dyer in the corner. She's going to drive. She's going to the hoop. And that's a layup. That gives Maddie Dyer 4 points. Lady Leopards 43-17, 5:44, fourth quarter. Once again, unselfish play.
Yep, great ball movement.
Yeah, very good. Up, and Lake stepped on the baseline. Louisville ball. I wouldn't be surprised here pretty soon with the score the way it is that we wouldn't start to see some of the backups get some time. Dyer brings it across the timeline over to Barwick, back to Dyer. Gives it over to Edelman. Edelman's going to dribble. She's going to drive. Gives it off to Lloyd. Lloyd, going to drive the baseline. Tipped away by Slates. Stays Louisville ball. Aaron inbounding. Gives it off to Barwick. Barwick out front to Edelman. Over to Dyer. Dyer gives it off to Heron. Heron's going to drive. She kicks it back out to Dyer. Dyer dribbles. She shoots. And she's fouled. Maddie Dyer to the free throw line. 5-10, fourth quarter.
Also, Blue Streaks number 40, Marissa Riggs. It's her second personal, team fourth.
Fouls on Riggs. It's her second foul. That is the fourth team foul on Lake. First one by Dyer, no good. Second one's good. Making the score 44-17. Maddie Dyer with 5 points. 5-10, third quarter. And timeout. They didn't start the clock. And they made the time 5:05. 44-17, Lady Leps. Lake to inbound. Looks like Julia Slates is going to inbound. Slates kicks it out to Horning. Horning good across the timeline, guarded by Maddie Dyer. Gives it off to Slates. Slates over to Hance. Hance over to Walker. Walker back out to Hance. Hance is going to dribble, gives it off to Horning. I'll tell you what, they keep cutting off that drive. Back out to Walker. Walker over to Hance, who's going to pull up for three. Long three, good. Wow, that was a long three. 44-20, 4:32, fourth quarter. Timeout, Leopards. Coach Kudo wants to talk about it. He doesn't like to see them give up. And we'll be right back after this.
Beatty Sports has all of your athletic needs, specializing in corporate, school, and team apparel. In-house custom embroidery and silk screening makes the Beatty Sports tradition of quality and service unbeatable. Go Leopards!
When Superintendent Schaefer, the school board, and new head coach Troy Davis asked me to pick up for Dennis Beery and fund the new scoreboard, I thought it was a daunting task. But we did it. The people in Louisville love the Leopards. And as for Thomas and Associates Dental, we have one thing to say: band, cheerleaders, football team.
And we're back, Leopard fans. 4:29 left in the fourth quarter. 44-20, Louisville. Mass substitutions for Louisville is Gonzalez, Thorne, Barwick, Miglich, and Orwin are on the floor for the Lady Leps. Thorne over to Barwick. Barwick's going to dribble. Gives off to Gonzalez. Over to Thorne. Thorne's going to dribble. She's going to take it to the hoop. She scoops. She misses. No good. Orwin rebound. Back into Gonzalez, who shoots. No good, but she's fouled. She's going to shoot two. 4:11, fourth quarter. Lady Leps are cruising. It's been a solid game for the Lady Leps. First one, no good. Rims out. 44-20, 4:11, fourth quarter. Second one off the back of the rim, no good. We have a jump ball, possession Lake. Slade sends him out to Horning. Horning bringing it up the backcourt. Picked up by Miglich at center court. Lady Leps aren't letting down on the defense. I think that's what Coach Kudo wanted to talk to him at the last time out. Don't you think, John?
Yep, I completely agree. Even with the mass substitution here, the Lady Leps are still playing smothering defense.
Hance with the ball, kicks it over to Slates. Down to Walker, guarded by Orwin. Walker dribbles left. She's going to be picked up by Barwick. Takes it to the hoop, loses it. It's going to be grabbed by Haley Gonzalez. But they're going to call a jump ball. Possession arrow goes to Louisville.
And the Lady Leps defense is there at every turn.
New Lady Lep in the ball game, number 3, Anna Ramsey. Inbound to Ramsey, back over to Gonzalez. Gonzalez is going to bring it across the timeline. Over to Thorne. Thorne's going to dribble. She's going to drive. Kind of gets shut off. Back out to Miglich. Over to Gonzalez, and she's fouled. They call the foul on Abby Vance. 3:11, fourth quarter, 44-20. Lady Leps. Ramsey to inbound. Kicks it into Miglich. Miglich is going to drive. Oh. Over to Gonzalez. Over to Orwin, who kind of fumbles the ball a little bit but gains control. She's going to dribble. She drives, kicks it out to Gonzalez for 3. Off the front rim, no good. And they're going to call a foul on Haley Gonzalez. She was trying to cut her off, kind of led with the leg.
Yeah, a little too aggressive there. At times, the Lady Leps get a little too aggressive on defense, but
You know
overall, very good night.
I'll take aggressive over passive every night of the week. Hance bringing it across the timeline, guarded by Gonzalez. Gonzalez over to Slates. Slates is going to dribble, kicks it over to Riggs. Riggs is going to kick it over to Hance. Hance is going to dribble over to Walker. Walker giving it up to Hornig. Nice defense by the Lady Leps as they keep cutting that drive. Slates gonna drive, shoots, and she's fouled.
Julia Slates.
That makes the score 44-22. Julia Slates goes to the line. Foul's called on Aubrey Thorne. That's her third. We've got a Leopard substitution. It says number 30. We don't have a 30 on our roster. Gonzalez across the timeline to Thorne. Thorne stops. Over to Ramsey. Ramsey dribbles over to Gonzalez. Back over, drives. Gonzalez shoots. Rebound no good. Nice. And I'm going to have to assume it's maybe... Do you see a 33 over there? Because I don't see a 33. Maybe it's Brooke Hubbard.
I think it is.
Slates is going to drive to the hoop, and she's fouled. 46-23, 1:48 left in the fourth quarter. Lady Leps lead. That foul's on Delaney Orwin. That's her first. Slates to shoot 2. First shot is good. 46-24. Lady Leps. Second shot. Off front of the rim. Goes in. Good. 46-25. Lady Leps. Gonzalez brings it across center court. She's going to dribble. She's guarded by Esposito. Gives it off to Thorne. Loses it. Tapped out by Slates. Stays Leopard ball. Inbound by Ramsey, over to Thorne. Thorne's gonna dribble left. Gives it back out to Orwin. Orwin gonna give it off to Gonzalez. Gonzalez fakes, she's gonna dribble right. Back over to Aubrey Thorne. Thorne's gonna go left. And she's gonna be fouled by Julia Slates, number 24 for Lake. 1:18 left in the fourth quarter. Aubrey Thorne goes to the line. They're in the bonus. It's the single bonus, so she'll shoot 1-on-1. Her shot, it's good. Aubrey Thorne with her 6th point, making it 47-25. Lady Leps. Second shot is good. 48-25. Substitution into the ball game. It's number 21, Popa. That's Lisa Popa. I didn't have it on my roster here, so I knew her last name was Popa. I just didn't know what her first name, but we got it. That shout out to Walker and Slate, or Riggs and Slate, sit down for Lake on senior night. Head coach for Lake is Como. It's Ashley Como, who is the wife of our head soccer coach, Jared Como. Rebound Louisville. Bringing it across the timeline is Lisa Popa. She stops her dribble, gives it over to Orwin. Orwin giving it off to Gonzalez. Gonzalez over to Popa. Popa in the corner, Ramsey. Ramsey's gonna dribble, gives it off to Orwin. Orwin to Gonzalez, stops her dribble. She needs help. Throws it away. Back to Ramsey. Oh, stolen away. Hornig brings the ball across timeline. 24 seconds left in the game for 3. Air ball. No good. Off Lake. Louisville ball. 19.9 seconds. 48-26. Left in the ball game. Gonzalez brings it across the timeline. And I think she's just going to dribble it out. Gives it over to Ramsey. Ramsey to Popa. Popa over to Gonzalez. 5 seconds. 2 seconds. 1. And that's the ball game, folks. Lady Leps are victorious, 48-26.
And what a wonderful bounce back game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it just seemed like Saturday nothing seemed to go right for the Lady Leps, and tonight,
Everything went right.
yeah. Well, that's what happens when you play solid D the way they did tonight. 48-26. Lady Leps win. We'll be back after this with the stats.
Beatty Sports has all of your athletic needs, specializing in corporate, school, and team apparel, in-house custom embroidery, and silk screening makes the Beatty Sports tradition of quality and service unbeatable. Go Leopards.
When Superintendent Schaefer, the school board, and new head coach Troy Davis asked me to pick up for Dennis Beery and fund the new scoreboard, I thought it was a daunting task. But we did it. The people in Louisville love the Leopards, and as for Thomas and Associates Dental, we have one thing to say. Band, cheerleaders, football team.
All right, Leopard fans, we're back as the Lady Leps are victorious tonight, 48-26. Sorry it took so long. We had to go down and fetch our own stats tonight. scoring for the Lake Blue Streaks, who had 26 points. We're trying to get over to that screen here. Lake Blue Streaks were led by Serenity Johnson with 12 points. Julia Slates had 7, followed by Hance with 3, Hornig with 2, Walker with 1, and Esposito with 1. Lady Leps, who scored plenty of points tonight, 48 points, were led in scoring by Courtney Barwick with 14, who made a start tonight. Brooke Heron with 10. Aubrey Thorne with 7. Maddie Dyer with 5. Edelman with 4. Miglich with 3. Make that. Kendall Loy with 3. And Maley with 2. Good all-around game tonight, wouldn't you say, John?
Oh yeah, offensively and defensively, I feel they came out and took charge right off of the tip.
Yeah, I agree. They did. The defense was just, it was intense. They kept cutting off the drive, shutting off the lanes. Lake was not getting the lane whatsoever. And then on offense, they just seemed to spread the ball. Whoever was open was getting the shots, and it just stayed consistent that way all night long.
Yeah, they had some great ball movement, really unselfish play by all the players tonight.
Well, the way that they were in the scoring column, I would agree with that, as you had two players in double digits, but you had plenty of, well, let's see here. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players in the scoring columns. So, again, Lady Leopards are victorious tonight, 48-26. Thanks for watching. Go Leps!